Dear students, I welcome you all in my lecture series on digital signal processing. This is lecture 7 of this series, and it is the continuation of the lecture 6, means in which we will explain the remaining part of the lecture 6. In lecture 6 I have described the time invariance property, and basically time invariance implies that the shape of the response yn depends only on the shape of the input xn. Time invariance says that the shape of the response yn depends only on the shape of input xn, means it does not depend on the time when it is applied, means output yn, the shape of yn does not depend on the time when it is applied. If the input is shifted to say x n minus n0, the response is also shifted by the same amount. This type of system is called time invariant system. In this lecture we will define the linear system or non-linear system. So in this lecture I will define the linear versus non-linear system, and second system that has to be defined is causal versus non-causal or anti-causal system, and then the stable versus unstable system. So in a causal system, the present response yn, it cannot depend on the future value of the input. Yn is not the function of future value of the input, xn plus 1, xn plus 2, and so on. If yn is not the function of future value of input, means it is function of only the present and past value of input, then it is called causal system. In other situation, means if yn is function of the future value of input, then this is called anti-causal system or non-causal system. We will see the details of these as our lecture progresses. So let us start. There may be another division of a general class of subsystem which is known as linear system and non-linear system. So a linear system is one which satisfies the principle of superposition. Superposition principle. So what the superposition principle says, that if suppose we have a system, we are applying input x1n, and in response to this x1n we are getting y1n, which is nothing but the processed version of this x1n. Suppose we apply another signal, say x2n, and in response to this x2n we are getting another output, say y2n, which is the processed version of this x2n. Now if we apply the scaled version of this signal x1n, which is scaled by a factor a1, the output is also scaled by the same factor a1. And if we scale this x2n by a scaling factor a2, the output is also scaled by the same factor a2. Now the principle of superposition says that if we apply the scaled and summed version of the two signals at the input of this system, then the output obtained, if it is equal to a1 y1n summed with a2 y2n, if this condition satisfies, then we say that the system is linear. Otherwise the system is said to be non-linear or non-relaxed. So the system is linear if and only if, mathematically stated, a system is linear if and only if the summed version of the various inputs are applied and passed through or processed through the system, and we obtain output like this. Means the output should be the sum of output obtained because of the individual inputs a2 x2. So the principle of superposition basically states that the response of the system to weighted sum of signals be equal to the corresponding weighted sum of the responses or output of the system to each of the individual input signals. So if we illustrate the things graphically, what graphical illustration says that, suppose if we apply a signal x1n and our weight factor a1, we multiply it by a weight factor a1, and we apply another input x2n and multiply it by a weight factor a2, and we sum these two inputs, and then we apply the final input to the system, and what we obtain at the output, if we say it as yn, if this yn is same as, suppose if we apply the signals x1n through the same system and we multiply here the scale factor a1, and the signal x2n is applied to the same system, and finally a scale factor a2 is multiplied to this, and if they are added and we obtain, say, some output y dash n, if this y dash n and yn they are equal, if they both are found to be equal, then we say that the system is linear system. Otherwise the system is said to be non-linear system. So if we see the linear and non-linear system in quite minute detail, we find that it can be separated in two parts, and the two parts that contain is, one of them is known as multiplicative or scaling property, and second part of the superposition principle is known as additive property. What is scaling property says that, suppose if in the previous relation, suppose in this relation we say it to be, say, equation number 1, if a2 becomes 0, if a2 is 0, then simply x1n is applied to the system and output thus obtained is equal to a1 y1n. So this multiplicative or scaling property says that if we apply input x1n and we obtain output y1n, then if we multiply this input by some scale factor a, the output should also be multiplied by the same scale factor a. If system satisfies this property, we say that the system satisfies the scaling property. And what additive property says that if we apply two inputs, say x1n plus x2n, to this system, the output should be equal to, the response should be equal to the two responses obtained individually by these two inputs. This means it should be equal to x1n passed through the same system, output when x1n is passed through the same system, added with the output when x2n is passed or processed through the same system, means y1n, it is equal to y1n plus y2n. This property is known as additive property of linear system. So additive and multiplicative property both constitute the superposition principle. Both constitute the superposition principle. Now this linearity condition can be extended arbitrarily to any weighted linear combination of signal by induction, and in general we can say that the general relation for this superposition or linearity property can be written as, suppose we have a1 x1n plus a2 x2n plus a3 x3n. Going this way, we can apply, say, a minus 1 x m minus 1 n. We can apply these number of inputs, and we can say that simply in summation form it can be written as, in simplified form it can be written as k starting from 1 to m minus 1 ak xkn, and this whole, if we say that this is xn, so any response to this, if it is passed or processed through system, we obtain output which we say that this is yn, and this yn is summation of a1 y1n which is obtained in response to this, a2 y2n which is obtained in response to this, and similarly a m minus 1 y m minus 1 n which is obtained in response to this. So the output will also be the summation of k starting from 1 to m minus 1 ak y k of n. So this way this superposition principle or linearity principle can be generalized. So we can say simply by observing this relation that a relaxed linear system with zero input produces 0 output. But if a system produces non-zero output with 0 input, non-zero output with 0 input, we say that the system may either be non-relaxed or non-linear. Either the system is non-relaxed or non-linear. So we will see the principle of superposition or linearity through some problems. Suppose we have a system which is described by the input-output equation. We have to determine whether the system is linear or non-linear. Nxn. This is a kind of system. What this system does, input is applied over here. The applied input is multiplied by the time index n, and finally we obtain output yn, which is equal to nxn. We have to determine whether the system is linear or non-linear. So just to determine it, we apply two set of inputs, say x1n, and in response to this x1n we obtain n x1n as the output. If we apply, say, another set of input x2n, in response to this we obtain n x2n at the output, and this we say some y1n, and this we can say that this is some y2n. Now if we apply the weighted sum of the input to this system, we will see what is going to happen. This means we apply, say, some a1 x1n plus a2 x2n to this system, and you see what will happen if it is applied. Then yn that we obtain, say this forms some input, say x3n, this in combination forms some input, say x3n, and this will produce some output y3n. So the y3n which is obtained because of the processing of this signal will be equal to n a1 x1n plus a2 x2n. So this will be equal to a1 n x1n plus a2 n x2n. And if we scale these two outputs simply by a1 and a2 factor, this will be equal to a1 and this will be equal to a2. And if we add up these two outputs, so what kind of final output is obtained if we add up these two things? So this will also obtain a1 and x1n plus a2 and x2n. Now you see that this equation number 1 is equal to equation number 2. So this way we can say that this system is linear. It satisfies the linearity property. So let us do it for another system. Say a input output relationship is described by this: x n square, x of n square. So we have to determine whether this system is linear or non-linear. So if suppose we apply input x1n to this system, suppose this is the system, and it produces the output y1n, which will be equal to x1 of n square. If we apply the x2n to this system, naturally it is going to produce another output which is known as y2n, which is equal to x2 n square. Now if we apply the weighted sum of inputs, say x1n, a1 x1n plus a2 x2n to this system, what will happen? We will obtain a1 x1 n square plus a2 x2 n square at the output, and we say that this is some y3n obtained because of some input x3n, which is a fresh new input. Now if we suppose this is equation number 1, just to check the linearity, what we do, we multiply this equation by a1 and this equation by a2, since it satisfies the scaling property. And if we add up these two outputs, what kind of information we get? This will result into a1 x1n square plus a2 x2 n square, and this is equal to this equation number 1. So we can say that the system described by this relationship is also a linear system. This is also a linear system. We can check this linearity for many other systems also. Suppose we have a square law device which is described by this input output equation, x square of n. So we have to check whether this is linear or non-linear. So we apply xn and we obtain yn, which is equal to x square of n. So suppose we apply some x1n, naturally we obtain some y1n, which is equal to x1 square of n. If we apply x2n, we obtain some y2n, which is equal to x2 square of n. But suppose if we apply the weighted sum of inputs, say a1 x1n plus a2 x2n to this system, this forms suppose some new input x3n. So naturally the square of the input means this will result into some y3n, which is equal to the square of this. This means a1 x1n plus a2 x2n whole square. So this will be equal to a1 square x1 n square plus a2 square x2n square plus a1 a2 twice of the a1 a2 x1n x2n. Well, now if we multiply some scaling factor to the outputs that were obtained because of these inputs, say we multiply it by a1, we obtain a1 x1n square, and if we multiply by a2, we obtain a2 x2n square. And if we add up these two outputs, simply this will be equal to a1 x1 square n plus a2 x2 square of n, and which is not equal to this equation number 1. Equation number 2 is not equal to equation number 1, you can say. Therefore this system is said to be non-linear. It does not satisfy the linearity property. Let us investigate the linearity of a system which is defined by the equation yn equals to cxn plus d. So let one of the input was x1n. In this situation the output which is generated will be y1n, and this will be equal to c x1n plus d. Suppose we apply another input. This was the situation when x1n was applied. We call the output to be equal to y1n. If x2n is applied, we call the output which is obtained is y2n, and in this situation y2n will be c x2n plus d. Now let us apply a x1n plus b x2n to this system. Naturally what this system will yield, this will form another input, say x3n. This x3n is equal to say a x1n plus b x2n. Now if we apply this input, this system simply multiplies the applied input by C, by a scalar C, and then it adds a constant D to this, and we obtain the output as y3n. Now we will see that what will be the output if we apply this y1n by, say, a. We multiply this y1n by a, so naturally this term will be multiplied by a, because linearity satisfies the scalar property. And if this output is multiplied by b, so naturally this term will be multiplied by b. And if we add these two values, then the output obtained is also added. This means equation number 1 and equation number 2, they are added. Suppose this is equation number 3. So a y1n plus b y2n, this is equal to, say, a c x1n plus a d plus b c x2n plus b d, whereas the output obtained because of y3n is equal to a c x1n plus b c x2n plus d. You see the difference between this and this, they both, suppose this is equation number 4 and this is equation number 5. So equation number 4 is not equal to equation number 5. Therefore we can say that this system does not satisfy the linearity property, and therefore it is not a linear system, or it is a non-linear system. This system is a non-linear system. But simply by looking at the equation in a very first sight, we cannot say that this system is a non-linear system. But because of this constant d, this system becomes a non-linear system. Since it makes the system a non-relaxed system, therefore since this value of d, for a value of d not equal to 0, the system is non-relaxed, and therefore it becomes non-linear. We can investigate the linearity property for another system. Say the system is described by input-output equation yn is equal to e to the power xn. We can directly observe from the previous example that if we put xn to be equal to 0, if xn is equal to 0, even in that situation yn is found to be equal to 1. Therefore this system is also a non-relaxed system, means output is obtained something if input is 0. This makes a system non-relaxed, and therefore every non-relaxed system is found to be non-linear. We can also prove this by using superposition theorem to prove whether a system is linear or non-linear. So let us do it that way also. So on applying x1n, suppose we are applying x1n to the system, we are getting y1n, which is equal to e to the power x1n, and on applying x2n to the same system, we obtain y2n, which is equal to e to the power x2n. Now if we multiply it by a scalar, say a, naturally this output is also multiplied by the same scalar. Rather it will be ax1n. Okay, input is multiplied by a, and if we multiply it by b, the output will be obtained like this: y2n will be equal to e to the power b x2n. Well, now if we add these two inputs, say a x1n plus b x to n, and we form a input, say, which is known as some x3n, and if we apply this input to the system, this system will yield outputs y3n, which will be equal to e to the power a x1n plus b x2n. And now we simply multiply y1n by a and y2n by b and add them to obtain what is the result. So simply by multiplying a into y1n, we obtain a e to the power x1n, and by multiplying b into y2n, we obtain b e to the power x2n. And if we add these two equations, the resultant will be a y1n plus b y2n, which is equal to a e to the power x1n plus b e to the power x2n. This is not equal to, say, this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. So equation number 1 is not equal to equation number 2, therefore this system is a non-linear system. It can be concluded that this system is a non-linear system. Now we will discuss another class of system which is known as causal or anti-causal system. Causal or anti-causal system. A system is said to be causal if the output of the system at any time, say n, output at any time n, depends only on the present and past inputs, but in any way it should not depend on the future input. Means yn is function of xn, xn minus 1, xn minus 2, and so on, but it should not be the function of x n plus 1, x n plus 2. If it is function of x n plus 1, x n plus 2, then this is called a anti-causal system or non-causal system. So any system which does not satisfy this equation is known as anti-causal system. So such a system has an output that depends not only on the present and past input but also on the future input. It is called non-causal system. So it is clearly apparent that the real-time signal processing application, we cannot observe future value of signal, and hence the non-causal system is physically unrealizable in this kind of application, means in real-time signal processing. But if the signal is recorded, this means the processing is done offline or non-real time, it is possible to implement non-causal system. Now we will investigate the causality for some systems which is described by difference equation. Suppose we have described a system by difference equation, yn is equal to xn minus 1 minus xn minus 2. This is clearly a causal system because at any instant n, output is depending only on the present as well as past input, but it does not depend on the future input. Therefore this system is causal system. We are taking another example, say summation k equals to minus infinity to n xk. This is an accumulator system. This keeps on adding the xn plus xn minus 1 going this way up to infinity. So this system, to determine output, we do not require any future input, therefore this system is also a causal system. Suppose we have another system yn, which is described by the equation alpha xn. Clearly this system is a causal system. But if suppose we have the equation written in some other form, say y1n is equal to alpha x 2n, this is an anti-causal system, because for any value of n, say y1, we require alpha x 2. This means it is a future value which is required to determine the output at moment 1. So therefore this system is anti-causal system. Suppose we have a yn which is described by alpha xn plus beta x n plus 4. This is clearly an anti-causal system because it requires future input to determine the output at moment n. There is a typical system which is described by this input output equation. This is simply a folder system which obtains the folded version of the input at the output. Prima facie it seems that this is a causal system, but this is also a anti-causal system, because if we have to determine, say, y minus 1, naturally we need x 1. So at this moment minus 1 we require the future input value. Therefore this system comes under the category of anti-causal system. Now we will look another class of system which comes under the category of a stable versus unstable system. This is a very important feature. Stability is very important feature of a system, and this can be defined as an arbitrary relaxed system is said to be bounded input, bounded output is stable if and only if for every bounded input the system produces a bounded output. Meaning thereby, if xn is bounded, this means there will be some mx whose value will be less than infinity, and the value of this xn will be less or equal to this definite value, this predefined value mx. And on application of this xn, if the system is producing output yn which is less or equal to some fixed value my which is less than infinity, if this condition is satisfied, then we say that the system is BIBO stable, otherwise the system is said to be unstable. Means if on the application of bounded input system produces unbounded output, this means it is not less than some definite value, some fixed value, then we say that the system is BIBO unstable. So this is all for this lecture 7. In the coming lecture we will describe a very important class of system which is called linear time invariant system, or in short this is called LTI system. So thanks for viewing this lecture. Thank you.